Hi everyone, welcome back to Casual Watch Talk. A little apology before we started, we haven't uploaded for 2 weeks. We've had a bit of a hectic travel. I was travelling and then Kris was travelling and out of pocket, and we apologise. We're trying to move some things around so that we can be consistent, and I think that means a few more interviews and maybe some special guests when me or one of us can't be on. But apologies with it, and thanks for everyone that stuck with us.
Thanks everyone, and it's certainly vacation for us too. So, but we definitely know that. At least I do. I'll, if I'm on a road trip or if I'm loading up to go someplace, I'll, load a bunch of the podcasts up. So if you'd caught up, hopefully you're a couple back and you're now caught up.
Yeah, absolutely. And Kris, I think we've mentioned this before on the podcast. The good thing with a podcast, which differs from YouTube, is that the Spotify that run the podcasting platform that we use, it gives you a demographic of people that listen. And outside of the US and the UK, we have a large audience in Sweden. Thank you to all of our Swedish listeners. We'd love to hear from you, actually. Maybe over on the Facebook group or maybe in the Discord. That would be really cool. Well, Kris, shall we do a wristwatch check? And you also had a watch obsessions as well, but should we?
Well, kind of combo. I mean, we should start with yours, which I think is going to steal the show here.
Yes, you're right. The one watch challenge is over. Yeah. I did get my date just. We've been talking about it a lot on the live stream, and I've also shared some photos on the Facebook group as well. And I managed to get exactly the combination that I went in and asked for, which is it's called mint green. So it's a mint green dial, date just 41. The mint green is a brand new colour that was announced at Watches and Wonders. Well, it's new for the date just 41.
Right.
It's amazing. I got it on the Jubilee bracelet. A big shout out to the Orlando Rolex AD in the Mola Millennia, Junie, and the team there. They were so great the whole time. They added me to the list. They kept me updated on email. And then when it finally came in, and if you remember, Kris, I ordered it the day after Watches and Wonders. So it's been about 4 months, which seemed like a long time, but it's not really, considering it's a new model.
Yeah, considering. I mean, it's not maybe not the most, maybe the hottest, most popular model, but at the same time, we're still living in, Rolex world.
Well, what was interesting is that when I visited the UK, we went into 3 Rolex ADs, and none of them had even seen a green dial. And apparently, I'm the first from that AD to get a green dial, date just 41.
Nice.
I like the idea of that. I'm kind of erring on the side of that might not. Who knows? But I like the story. And
keep it. Keep the story. Does it have the texture, or is it just the green?
It's not the motif dial, which is another one I would have gone for.
Which is another one you were like on your list. Yeah, okay. Yeah, so it's just the green.
Yeah, this was the top of my list, and the combination I wanted with the smooth bezel and the Jubilee bracelet. That Jubilee bracelet is an absolute triumph. It's
nice.
An incredible bracelet.
Nice. And so process was, smooth, alert from your bank when you liquidated your savings account, I assume.
Well, this is the thing. Because we've been doing this one watch challenge, if people have been listening along with the podcast, I'd actually had set up a separate savings pool where I was putting all of my money in.
Oh, perfect.
So money generated from ad revenue on the YouTube channel and from watches that I'd sold, because I wanted to feel not feel the pain's the wrong word, but I wanted to feel like
it was a real thing. Like, it wasn't coming from like you had a real purpose for this money.
Yeah, exactly. It didn't come from my normal wage, which obviously I earn at work, and then some goes to bills.
Right.
My responsible money that I need for life.
Yeah, I was just to reiterate, I was watching something the other day where somebody was talking about watch financing, and I was like screaming. So I will just say our normal thing, which is do not finance a watch. If you cannot afford it, do not buy it. And that's a perfect way to do it, Sam, is to like set up a separate account so that you can kind of keep an eye, so you know that money. So it's like you pay for your, you know, put your money in your 401k, put your money in your IRA, pay the bills, pay the rent, buy food, buy shelter, and then, you know, then the fun money goes in that account.
I'm amazed by it. I'm amazed at how much I like it. The green dial goes from like a dark green to a silver, depending on the light.
Oh, it's good. Yeah.
And a little plug for, if you're interested in seeing the date, just a little plug for the Facebook group. I put photos on there of it with its Jubilee, and I've also recently put it on a green rubber B strap. So I just lent all in on the green, and I think it looks awesome.
I do want to congratulate you, Sam. Sam sent me a text message a couple days ago with his first scratch. I was very proud.
Yeah,
I was a very proud watch guy, and so I think he's gonna stay on his wrist, which is good. We want to see at least the next 5 wristwatch checks be this piece for sure.
I thought you'd like that, because if anybody's not familiar, the last Rolex that I bought that I don't wear, I was very scared of scratching it. My OP, the one that I bought for kind of an investment, and then when I got my Speedmaster service, I couldn't wear it because it was so pristine. But this one, scratched it within the thing is, the Rolex clasp it's so highly polished.
Right.
You only have to look at it and it's scratched.
Right. Yeah, exactly. So, right. Short of the durometer of the sticker that was on it, like a lot, you're just like micro scratches for sure. The hard plastic countertop, and you're like, what is wrong? What has happened?
So I just put it on, it fit perfectly, and I've not had any buyer's remorse. I've not even thought about it. It's just my watch now.
It's cool. That's cool. And like, you know, one of the things that we're all kind of looking for, and like when you find that, and then when you have that experience and you get that, and you get to that point, it's so satisfying, because you're like, this represents kind of who I am, and it says what I want to say, and it fits my style. And if you can get that to line up, so good.
Maybe we'll do a podcast on this, that how my watch collecting journey found its way to Rolex. I didn't start off wanting one. I didn't think I could afford one when I started, and also I didn't really want one. It didn't interest me, but as I got more into it and learning more about watches and so maybe we'll do a separate topic on that.
Yeah, we get to definitely expand on that.
What are you wearing?
I have got my Zin 104, but on an H-Link bracelet, and my watch obsession wristwatch check here for this episode is I had a bunch of bracelets, and I didn't realize that I have an H-Link from my Bell & Ross, basically that's a Zin 103. And so it's an original, like, it's got a like stamped clasp. It's like an original H-Link bracelet from Zin, like circa 1999 or 96, something like that. And I never thought to try it on the 104. I don't know why. I just assumed that the N-Link wouldn't fit, like, because sometimes the shape, you know, with the Seikos, like any of the Seiko watches, like you can't, like, that end link shape, whatever that is, the depth of it is not right, and it has a huge gap. Like I think like if you take the SKX end links, you could put them on a turtle, but like you'll end up with like a 2 millimeter gap, and it'll look kind of funky.
Yeah, it's rare, isn't it, that you
can and so I just assumed that it wouldn't work. And another piece of that is, because it's the original 90s bracelet, it doesn't have a solid end link. It has a hollow stamped end link. And I think because of that, and I was up and I was cleaning up some watch strap stuff, and like organizing my mess of, you know, where we have the boxes and boxes of watch straps, and I was kind of organizing them, and I was like, I wonder if this H-Link bracelet would fit on this 104, and popped it on, fit immediately, I was so excited. It's over on my Instagram at Everyday Mastery. Check it out. It looks great, fits great. It's got the and it has the Bell and Ross logo on the clasp, so it's a little mixed, little mixture of styles, but that's okay.
Oh, that's cool. And yeah, for anyone who's not familiar, H-link is where the actual links are a H with like a fat middle bit, aren't they? As opposed to like an oyster bracelet where the links are more like a U, like a fat U shape, aren't they?
Yeah, that's a good way to describe it.
Hamilton use H-link bracelets, don't they? And then
yeah, I've seen some IWC designs too would have the H-link, which is kind of interesting. But
well, a little, Chris, I haven't asked you this, but we've been talking a bit on the live stream, and guys, we've been having some great fun on the live streams over on the YouTube channel. We had Pete from Not So Obvious Watches on, and he's always just a great guest to have on. And we talked about the new Breitling, which I think we did that to death perhaps on the live stream, but I haven't asked you about the Tudor Ranger. I haven't even texted you about it because I wanted to hear your impression raw on it. What did you think of it?
So first I have to say I love Pete because he is the like watch collector's peak self-reflection. He gives such insight in stuff that we just kind of casually throw out. I mean, the other day he was talking about like the term luxury watch. I don't think I use that term, but like just to kind of to say that and be like, what are you saying when you say that? Like, what are you saying when you're saying tool watch? You know, these sort of descriptors that we throw around that we assume we maybe know what we're talking about, but at the same time alienates people and is like, oh, well, luxury watches don't start at X $1,000 or, all that, stuff, all that. So such a good insight from Pete. And I'll say I saw a picture of the Tudor Ranger and I was not that excited. It was not, I was like, okay. I felt kind of the same excitement that I would have for like a different dialed Hamilton khaki. Kind of like, okay. Yeah. Nothing, like, okay, yeah, whatever. And then I watched, and then Pete's video was the first one I watched on it, so maybe I'm biased there. But I have to agree with Pete. It was like a not exciting three-hander, and it was interesting again with his, looking in the mirror, sort of looking at the watch community. It was interesting to see the channels and the ads and the hype. That was like, oh, it's gonna be they're gonna release a new watch and it's gonna be amazing.
Yeah,
and like,
Submariner,
yeah, they were just like that. Everybody was excited for, and then when they came out, the reviews that were super positive and like, oh, Tudor's amazing and everything's amazing, and once again, and I think we've mentioned, or at least I have mentioned this before, where I need reviews on stuff where you tell me what you personally don't like, what you personally do like, what you think they're not doing right, what they're thinking they're doing great, these sorts of things. And not every review for every watch is going to be amazing. And I start to pick up on that when I watch other YouTubers and other reviewers and read on blogs and stuff where it's like, is this an ad? Because every single watch you review is amazing, and that can't be.
Yeah, it's something I've been very conscious of. We're big fans of Christopher Ward, and the last one I reviewed was my own one, so check that out on the channel. I actually reviewed my very much loved blue dial Trident watch, but the one before that I actually asked them to send me a watch that I knew I wouldn't like, or at least I thought I wouldn't like,
right? And
that was the bronze one, and I actually didn't like it. So I talked about the reasons why I personally didn't like it, but why other people might really like it. And it's funny to see it was funny to see the comments that some people were like, I agree with what you're saying, but this is actually something I do quite like about it.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Versus this, like, everything is amazing and it's just a glowing review forever. And it's just a review for anything has to give me more than just the specs and the the specs and a snippet about the brand. It's got to be, I want to know, that you may not like this, or this is how you feel about a certain thing, and like your views on the brands. I mean, we want to know your view and not just spewing out some spec sheet from the marketing department.
There's a couple of stories on Watch Pro that really captured my interest today. One is about wait lists and exhibition models, so we'll go into that. One I think we can go over pretty quickly is everyone's talking about, even people at work are asking me about this, but everyone's talking about the luxury watch market is the bubble has burst, or
yep.
Same with crypto. And I haven't sold any crypto because this is what happens with crypto. It's very cyclical, and the sways are vast. I mean,
yeah.
Bitcoin went from $3,000 to $60,000 in 12 to 18 month span.
Yeah.
But one of the interesting things, Watch Pro didn't go down the avenue of is this a bubble or whatever, but they introduced the idea of, now that watch prices might be leveling down, does that mean that the true collectors are going to come back and start buying again? Because it seems to have been such a speculative frenzy. But what's your view on that?
Same sort of thing with the car market. So I was just watching a show on the cooling off of some of the, hotter, bring a trailer, cars and bids, these hot, specialty car auction sites. And, the owners of those sites have said now publicly, hey, what you think you can get for X, there's no way we're listing it at that. That's cute that you would like to, that you'd like us to list it for what it sold for in August of 2021, but that's not going to happen in 2022.
People,
right?
They're consigning that.
They're consigning. Yeah, so the sellers, so the people running the auction are telling the sellers, like, we can't list it for, like, it will never sell for that price. And so you need to get down into reality. And I think that's been the case for a few months now. And so it's good to see, just to cool that market off. I'm looking forward to when that cools off. I still feel like it's cooled off, but at the same time it's such a high. Yes. It's still at an elevated price, and like, I don't know what percentage of that. Like, let's see what happens towards the end of the year, whether that was like just inflation, or was that also just the market still. It's
not like there was a container full of 50,000 Rolexes caught in the Panama Canal or whatever.
Oh, right. Yeah, no, it's right. It's like the housing market. It's like the car market. It comes down to, and again, what I said earlier, which is very, very important. Do not finance a watch. It comes down to, banks are not giving away free money. So if you can't get free money, then you can't get a car for $7,000 over MSRP. You can't get a house for $90,000 over asking. You can't, you know what I mean? Same thing is true. So these, this like, the free money is over. And so maybe we can get, some of the, and I would like to think, I mean, I have a better handle on it this year than I think I ever had, of the sort of the Rolex asset market. The people that are just adding these pieces to them, to a safe as an asset. And like, what is that, what does that market look like? And as soon as those prices fall out, then the people are going to be like, oh, I just need to either hold on to this forever or stop buying these.
I was on a live stream on the Tea and Tickers podcast, and Roman Scharf joined, and he was giving some ideas about the grey market and the Daytona prices, and he was saying that some of the steel Daytonas only got up to the price that they did because it was new dealers were selling to other dealers, so that they could say that they had these hot watches, and so it was all like a speculative back and forth. But if anybody's listening and they bought a watch at perhaps the higher end of the market, if you bought a Daytona at $25,000 or $30,000 and you're now looking at it go down, just hold on to it, because in 10 years that's going to look like an absolute bargain.
Yeah. I'm sure, but yeah, you got. I think you'd have to long term it, and then small moves. I was looking. I'm going to admit something here on the channel. I don't know if I want to hang on to the C65 chronograph. And I was looking at what its value was. Let's talk quickly, because we've mentioned this before, but let's talk quickly about, I think Christopher Ward's value is, for a dollar, is amazing. But those watches right now on eBay are easily 30+% off. So if you want to get a great deal on a Christopher Ward, I'm seeing $1,000 for chronographs.
Yeah, and they just did their sale as well, didn't they? They just did their amazing sale that they do once a year.
And I want to, the next time we get them on the show, I want to give them some feedback. I think that they're established enough where they can turn down the volume of those fire sales.
Right.
Because I think it's hurting their perceived value in the watch market.
Oh, that's interesting.
I got it on sale. I paid $1,600. The retail price was $1,800. I paid $1,600, so $200, coupon deal, whatever it was. And that watch on eBay right now is going for $1,000, which is 30%. So
yeah, and that's a lot of watch for that money.
It is. So kind of going back to your, is it time for collectors? Well, here's something. I mean, if you're listening and you've ever interested in checking one out, you can get some deals here, which is great. But for someone who owns one, it has feelings, right? When, like you look down at your wrist, like right now, you look down at your wrist, you know what that's worth. You know what that thing's going for on Chrono 24. Even though you wouldn't sell it, this is the, perceived value. And that can be a percentage of importance to people. And I have a little bit of that. I don't have a lot. I'm in the $2,000, $3,000 range here, amateur, which is fine for me. But even then, that perceived value is slipping. So
that is actually one of the big selling points for me about. We'll do another podcast on Rolex, but one of them it was a big decision factor for me. But I only would have bought one at retail, and I was lucky enough to build a relationship with those Rolex dealers. I mean, we're still, Chris and I are still friends with he's now Justin, who's now at the Tudor AD, but he was at Rolex DD. And because I'll talk about how I went about buying it in another podcast, or if some people are interested, let me know. Well, let's move on now. I made my own upload on it, and I'm still a little bit. I'm
spicy.
I'm disappointed in them.
Yeah,
but this is the whole Moon Swatche thing. So you've been following the recent news about what the CEO of the Swatch Group said.
Yeah. I saw the comments. Federico did an update, and a couple of people did an update on it, and I saw the comments that he said before that happened. So my sort of my final take on this. And
you want to just summarize what it was about if people don't know. So this is about the availability of the Moon Swatche, isn't it?
Right. So Federico has a great video on the details of it. But the CEO basically said, "Hey, this is a special Swiss-made watch, and it's important to the brand, and so we want to get more people into our brick and mortar stores. So we're not going to sell it online." And this is after they had said, "Don't worry, they're not limited edition. Don't worry, we're definitely going to sell them online. Did we say you could buy two? We only meant one." and all of this went through, and my two responses to that are, number one, if you want us to visit your brick and mortar store, there's one 12 minutes for me that doesn't have Moon Swatches.
Yeah.
So what are you doing?
I've been to two that didn't have them.
Yep.
They weren't even on the list to get them.
Yep. I talked to the one in Vegas, the one that wasn't the main store, the secondary store that's off the strip, that's in a mall off the strip, and they didn't even know the release was happening.
I have no idea what Swatch think they're playing. I don't know what they think they're playing at. Honestly, I don't know. Of all of the... It's funny because people will look at some of the larger brands and say, oh, they're out of touch, or, oh, they're only for elites or people who can afford them, and, oh, they won't even give you the time of the day if you go in the store or whatever. Of all of the ridiculous things that Swatch could have done is made a plastic watch elitist, exclusive, unobtainable, a flipper's absolute dream of a watch. Yeah. And then to have the sheer arrogance to say, when you've built up an e-commerce platform, a very good Swatch e-commerce platform where people are regularly used to buying Swatch, it's so advanced, the Swatch e-commerce platform is, you can design your own watch on there.
Right.
They'll give you different patterns and you can move the watch around. You can create your own unique watch. They print these watches to the specification.
That you picked on the website.
Yeah. Of all of the ridiculous things to say that it isn't available online, I mean, it beggars belief that they would say that, to be honest.
Yeah, I was dumbfounded. I was dumbfounded. And then my second point is they have successfully turned this into a flub of unbelievable proportions within the watch community. The people that are driving the excitement for these things that we run out to collect.
And this is going to lead very well onto our next story. But one of the things that I thought was quite ironic, I made a comment in my Moon Swatche video where I talked about how the Swatch marketing team rolled out the clown car for this one, and they'd rolled out the clown car when they released the Damien Hirst one. And as if, not that these are clown cars, but it just amused me, but they've now Swatch have outfitted a series of Fiat 500s, painted them in the same colours of the Moon Swatch, strapped a suitcase to the back of each of these Fiat 500s, and are basically going to drive around Europe doing pop-up Moon Swatch events out of the back of Fiat 500s for all of the ridiculous
that is
narcissistic things that they could do.
Yeah. So attention all watch lovers and collectors. This is the Swatch Moon Swatche clown car show, is what this is.
It's ridiculous, and I'm not picking on the Fiat 500. I love the Fiat 500.
No, it's great.
I love minis as well. But it just the fact that they're using a small car that could probably fit, the suitcase probably fits 12 of these watches, and they're saying yes, you can actually buy a Moon Swatch of these pop-up events. Of all the ridiculous things to concentrate your marketing effort on, when you could list these online and print money with them.
Absolutely print money. And where is this old school, like, where is this 1940s view of the internet taking your market share that you're never going to get back? Where is this view coming from? That ship sailed 20 years ago.
The funny thing is as well, and I made reference to this in my... I know I sound like I'm plugging my YouTube video here, but I probably am. I said, if it's that important to you, just make one of the Moon Swatches a store exclusive, or make a different... Hey, if you buy a Moon Swatch at a store, you'll get a different Velcro band. You'll get it'll be like a gold.
Yeah, you did say that, right? And I thought that was it's great. Or do the... did we need 9 of them at the start? Yeah. Could we, not crazy marketing ideas here. Do what Timex did. Okay, so we're going to release the Pepsi. And then in a little while, we're going to release the black and blue Batman. And then in a little while, we're going to release the orange one. You know, it didn't have to be, we're going to hit you with everything. I really think that they believe that the hype is driven only by non-watch folks.
This is the other thing with the Moon Swatche. Again, I made reference to this in my video. I only keep referencing my video because I put a lot of thought into my feelings on it. I felt that if they hadn't messed this up, they, for the first time I called it in a generation, but I meant since the 80s and 90s, this was their chance to reclaim that. Swatch is the watch is a fashion watch, as in it's setting a trend, and they haven't had that for years. The last one I remember was like the Pop Swatch. When I was a kid, everyone had to have a Pop Swatch. You fastened it to your it popped out of its little carrier. You could fasten it to your shirt. It was the thing to have, and they haven't had that for years. They've been shooting in the dark. They've done a few like collabs. There's a lot of people that like collecting them because they know them from. But no young person that I've ever seen that's into watches, they all have Apple Watches. They don't buy a Swatch. And this, or they have a G-Shock, and G-Shock captured that. G-Shock captured this. Hey, we're on the wrists of rappers. Oh, hey, these fashion people. This was their chance to reclaim some of that glory, and they just keep face palming this. So I mean, like, as the brand goes, I know I'm going to be at a watch meet and someone's going to have one or two of them, or a couple people are going to have them, and I'm just going to feel blah. And all I'm going to think about is I'm going to think about the 1,000 people across the globe that their new job is to chase these fiats down and to wait outside of Swatch stores and get into fistfights with people so that they can buy a $260 watch and then mark it up 3 times. Yeah. That's all I'm going to think about, and it's over for me. And I just it's sad, and the like view of the brand, I'm sad. To go back to your I'm disappointed. Well, yeah, and I made reference to this in the video, that those people that are queuing up to buy them, to sell them, you can't really blame them, because you're basically handing them a lottery scratch card where you, regardless of which card you give them, you're going to get twice your money back. Here's a lottery ticket. Hey, give me $10 for this lotto ticket, and I'll give you a new. I guarantee you'll win 20.
Right. Like, let's say they restock. I mean, they restock a couple, once every couple of weeks, let's say, or what, I don't know what the rate is, but I'm sure there are people in places that can live off $400, $600 of cash every couple of weeks for doing 3 hours of work, or 4 or 5 hours of work, and the work is standing out in front of a store on a weekday.
Exactly. So you can't really blame them when the whole system is designed to incentivize that.
Oh, yeah.
I know there's been reports that this Moon Swatch has increased Omega's actual Swatch, Omega's actual Speedmaster sales, which, good for them, but at what reputational cost?
Right.
Short term, it's the Swiss watch industry when you're playing games of chess that last a generation.
Right. To just snub. Like, the two things that they're not going to acknowledge is they're not going to acknowledge the enthusiast community. To just snub it. And it's like, hey, if you've been to a watch meet and seen a System 51, wake up, Swatch, wake up, because that's what got a lot of people into mechanical watches of our age. And then number two, to not acknowledge that you have a flipper / scalping problem.
Yeah.
That your watches are not being sold to your customers. Your product is not going to your customer. Your product is going to an intermediary. It's getting marked up and then going to customer. And you guys have been talking about the Swiss watch industry has been talking about controlling the market for 1,000 years, and here we are just putting it in the hands of whoever wants to stand in line on a weekday.
They need to take a leaf out of other industries like Lego, for example. Lego was wildly unpopular at the same time that Swatch was unpopular. I mean, they nearly went bankrupt, Lego, and then they reinvented themselves.
Yeah.
And they do have exclusive sets, but they're not. You can get them. You can buy them online. They go out of stock and they come back in stock. I mean, it's not like Lego's saying, "Oh, we need to keep these exclusive sets so that our higher end sets sell for more."
They know adults are coming in and spending $180 on the Apollo Moonlander. Okay, and they know that. And yeah, I was in Target yesterday on the shelf. $180 Moonlander set in Target in a store a minute from my house.
Yeah.
And so they definitely need to pull a page from that for sure.
Yeah, exactly. It's anyway. Well, leading on to this goes nicely into a final story and Watch Pro again. This is. I don't remember seeing this journalist before on Watch Pro, but Robin Swithenbank wrote a really good article about... The title is around exhibition-only watches. So this is where... And this happens in the Rolex AD where I bought my watch from. They have exhibition watches, Rolex watches, where you go in and you can at least see the watch, which is different than 12 months ago where there was nothing in there.
Yeah, there was nothing in there. I was actually surprised that they were going to do this because this was something that I think they at one point said that they were never going to do.
What's interesting is the US ones, I believe, are mechanically altered, but in the UK, the exhibition models are future ones that will be sold.
Yeah, it really interesting. This is a... See... To our last story and our last points, here is a major brand acknowledging that their sales model, their sales method, has to change. And just like shopping for cars online, the only reason why you want to go to the dealership is to get in it, is to just see what it looks like on the dealership floor, to make sure the seats fold flat, to look in and make sure that the radio's not dumb, and that you can get the seat into a comfortable position, these sorts of things, maybe do a test drive. And nobody wants to talk to a salesperson or sit there and haggle anymore. They don't want to haggle a price. They just want to negotiate stuff online. They want to do their research online, and then they want to go to try it on, and then they want to buy it.
What's really interesting about this article as well is it starts off talking about exhibition models, but then it goes into talking about the wait list and how, and it's not just leaning in on Rolex. It mentions about the Vacheron Constantin Overseas, the Tudor chronographs, IWC ceramic pilot watches, the Zenith Chronomaster Sport. And it's saying that watch companies, it's a warning for watch companies that when they hype watches up, I'll give Rolex a little break here because they don't personally hype
right.
watches
Yeah, they
up
have
themselves.
Enough. Right. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, the community and there's another interesting point on this, which talks about how when you go in there and you're looking at a watch, and then a watch that's been hyped up like the Moon Swatche, and then you're not able to get it. It talks about how that is actually a break in trust between the watch company and these brands might be getting away with it now, but what's the long term? What's the long term reputational damage of having a watch very hyped, seeing it in adverts, seeing it all over the place, and then you go into a watch store and you're like, oh, I've seen this watch, I've saved up for it, and they're like, oh, but you can't have it.
Yeah,
and that's Swatch have bought that to the Moon Swatche now.
Yeah. The the FOMO hype brand, and it's just, yeah, you're just like, okay, I'll go spend my money on something else. It's cool.
The warning for the watch community about how they approach and how they hype up certain models, and how
and the like the gatekeeping that they're doing. And I mean, your experience with your Rolex has been pretty positive. It's only one data point, so it's tough to sort of break that out.
And like you mentioned, the date just is and should be their kind of bread.
And I did right, and like this is not, I'm not like, oh, it's just a regular one. Like, I'm just saying, I didn't want to infer that, but what I was, it's not like one of their, like, that you could turn around,
like a Daytona, or
you get the gold Daytona and you could turn around and just make $15,000 flipping it. It wasn't anything like that. It seemed, though, again, one data point, that they were like, hey, we don't know when we're going to get them in. We'll put you on the list. We'll keep in touch. And you check back with them. And, they're like, oh, we don't have any, this sort of thing. And it was fairly benign. It didn't feel, your description of it was like, I got on the list and then 4 months later I got the watch, right? It didn't feel like, this high pressure thing. What I think is interesting is that this is kind of pointing out is maybe we should start to recognize that is maybe shouldn't be normal. What going in and not being able to get it, and then having to be put on a list, and then having to put your name in and calling them back and making sure that you're a valued buyer, whether And I've heard stories of other ADs where they're like, depending, you're on that list depending on how much you bought from them, these sorts of shady things. And so this is kind of pointing out that, like, maybe the days of this are numbered.
Paul Thorpe talks about how even Rolex themselves are trying to combat certain things, and that there might be this idea that you can only get 3 models a year as a buyer. They're trying within their power to limit the sort of the rogue ADs that are fueling kind of the grey market, and maybe that will help the consumer, because obviously even Rolex themselves are realizing that they still need to get Rolexes in the hands of, because it used to be that aspirational brand, didn't it? And you lose that generational thing of, oh, my dad got a Rolex when he retired, or got a promotion at work, or when somebody graduated college, they got a Rolex, and they don't ever want to, because that was a big part of their marketing for a
and
it's word of mouth marketing.
And it's just as I said, they understand that there shouldn't be any friction between getting their product in the hands of their customer. And as soon as this friction starts, and whether it be something that they're doing or whether it's something, I mean, like, this should be a basic future, how we sell, how we buy things. I mean, if there's, and if there's any sort of friction there, it's to the detriment of your brand.
Bringing it full circle round to this ridiculousness of the Moon Swatche not being available online. There is zero business, practical, customer service reason that watch should not now be available online. Yeah, they can only produce a certain amount a year.
Yep.
It's a laughable now that a CEO of a major company like that would go in a counterclockwise direction and not make their most sought after product available through the largest number of sales channels. You had tried to satisfy your
absolutely super hyped, super excited customers, or let them know that the status quo was good enough for them.
Yeah, all of this stress of trying to get one, and the sales, the poor. This article also talks about the how sales, though, these people that are working in watch stores now are just becoming trained to just put people on lists. Like the art of the sale has gone,
right?
In terms of
we discussed this when we were talking about, there was a lot of conjecture that maybe they were holding these back, and every salesperson that we talked to was like, no, we just can't get them, and if we had them to sell, we would sell them. And so, yeah, you feel bad for the salespeople. Again, maybe they're less of a salesperson role and more of a brand ambassador role, where maybe the sale sort of moves off to one side. I find it funny that, like, for however in your face every single day, you can press a button and in an hour get something from an online retailer. Like, every single industry needs to realize that is happening, and if you cannot provide that level of instantaneous service, someone else will.
Well, that's been a really fascinating turn into a bit of a Moon Swatche rant, but I enjoyed it. I feel like it was a cathartic thing for us. Well, guys, we really appreciate you. We appreciate you listening, and we'll see you next time on Casual Watch Talk. Thanks, guys. Bye.